Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani. Live from the Box Studios in beautiful New York City, it's On the Nose. And now, to answer your questions, get out of your seats and on your feet because here he is, Ariel Helwani.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Mike Heck. I do have to correct my good friend EK on Twitter. That wasn't the first ever commercial break in the history of the MMA Hour. And honestly, it wasn't really a commercial break because there was no actual commercial that played. We used to do that all the time. We used to have to reconfigure the studio with the cameras when someone would come in studio. We would play old clips back in the day, and I kind of like it. I might do more of that. So we have a very long, rich history, a vast library that we can tap into. So we might do more of that. But no, not the first time, but definitely the first time in a very long time. Okay, arielhelwani.substack.com. How many we got here? 205. Holy smokes. All right, no time to waste. Let's get into the chronological. Of course, I answered the questions here. Newman first. Hello, Newman. Hello, Ariel. Wow, what an honor it is to be first. Cubano, not first. That's big news. It took a lot of hard work and dedication to get here, but I finally made it. I have to start by congratulating you and Mrs. Helwani on becoming U.S. citizens. Thank you. You have a lot of questions to get to, so I'll keep mine short. On the upcoming UFC schedule, they have 3 consecutive fight nights in April scheduled at the Apex. Do you know if they plan to take any of those events on the road? Not the April ones, no. Hopefully more and more as time goes on, but not the April ones. Also, how do you see Robert Whittaker fitting in at 170? So Robert Whittaker last night said, maybe it's the return of Skinny Rob. Of course, Robert Whittaker is going to join us in 35 minutes, so stay tuned for actual answers from Rob. The way I interpreted that was he has a fight coming up. He's got to lose weight. He was on vacation. He's back to 85. Yet for some reason, everyone's interpreting it as 170 Rob. Why the hell would this guy go back to 170? He's the second best middleweight on the planet. He just fought Israel to a decision, went the distance with him. He beats everyone else at 85. He's had more success in the UFC at 85 than 170. Why the hell would he do that? So I don't know why you all think it's 170. I think it's just him getting a fight sooner than later at 85. We'll find out. El Cubano, hola Ariel. Last week's main event was a tough outing for my guy Gamebred. Still, as a true fan through and through, I can't wait to see his next match, what his next match will be, or when his next match will be, to fully support him once again. Can you rank these 5 opponents in order from least likely to most likely to be next in line? Conor McGregor, Nathan Diaz, Nick Diaz, Leon Edwards if he loses, Wonderboy rematch. Bonus, is there any possible opponent that may be flying under the radar? Way too soon, Viva Helwani. I love you, Cubano. Way too soon to say any sort of. Actually, there's like no front runner right now. There's like literally no front runner because he just fought. However, if I would have to rank those five, I'd say, okay, so we'll go like 1 being most likely, 5 least likely. 1. Actually, I'm going to go 5 to 1, least likely to most likely. Nick, least likely. Then I'll go 5 Nick. I'll go 4 Edwards. Sorry, I'll go 5 Nick. I'll go 4 Nate. I'll go 3 Edwards. I'll go 2 Wonderboy. I'll go 1 Connor. That's what I'll go with. Carmine, hey Ariel, 2 quick questions. Do you agree that Bryce Mitchell could be the UFC's next biggest star? I mean, next biggest star? No. I mean, he's really leaning. He's going to turn off a lot of people. He's going to alienate a lot of people, but he's also going to gain a lot of fans because he's really leaning into this politics thing. He was on Tucker Carlson yesterday. It's not the route that I would suggest going, and I think he could capture a lot of the audience and make a lot of sense. But like, is he the next biggest star? No, I don't. I think that's a little too soon. Any chance we could get Tim Tszyu on the show? He's making his US debut March 27th. No plans right now, but anyone who's related to Costa Zoo is a legend in my books. Nico, Sava Ariel, your point in yesterday's 2 Cent Tuesday regarding Conor versus Jorge at MSG got me thinking. The UFC should put the BMF title on the line. Why do people say that all the time? Technically, Usman is the BMF champ. He beat Jorge. And I don't really think it matters. Like, does anyone really care? If Conor wins, dare I say, Nate versus Conor trilogy for the BMF belt beats the two. Does the BMF belt add to a pay-per-view? It doesn't, in my opinion, at all. It's not a thing anymore. This is what I think should happen. Nate versus Dustin, July. Jorge versus Conor, November. If Conor wins or loses, and if Nate wins or loses, you do the trilogy sometime mid next year. Obviously, Jorge versus Nate 2 could be a thing. But those are the next, like, let's not go too far in advance. Those are the next 2 fights, in my opinion. Dustin, Nate, let's get it done. Let's get it over with. What the hell is taking so long with Nathan Diaz? Like, can we just figure this out? Enough already. Get that done. They both want it. We both know they want it. It should be the easiest negotiation ever. They both want it. Get it done. And then let's do Conor versus Jorge, November, Madison Square Garden. Matt Mo. Bonjour, Lord Ariel. Bonjour. I've been a fan of your profound mixed martial arts journalism since day one. Thank you. You are doing truly incredible things for the sport and the fighters. Thank you. I screamed at you at UFC 206 in Toronto, but I don't think you heard me. I'm sorry. My question is, do you think there are other intelligent life forms out there in the universe? Oh, God. Yes or no? Sure. Why not? Given the enormity of the cosmos encompassing hundreds of billions of galaxies, each with billions of Earth-like planets, I find it almost a certainty that there is. Yeah, sure. I would love to hear your take on this as well as GC and Frank's take. Oh, perfect. Frank, you have any thoughts on this?
If there isn't anyone out there, it's an awfully big waste of space.
Thank you for that, Frank. What about GC?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be aliens somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Luis. Hi, Ariel. Who do you think will challenge for the women's flyweight title first? Casey O'Neill or Erin Blanchfield? Interesting. You know, Casey wants the slow push, so I'll go with Erin. Trey, shalom. I learned 3 things from UFC 272. The Hardy experiment has gotten boring, or it just kind of failed, but sure. Open scoring accountability should be tested with Sal D'Amato only. He really needs it. By the way, another guy who says, yeah, I'm into it, right? Bisping. Accountability, another guy. Add that one to the list. But what about the judges? It's clear to me that the only people that don't want this are the judges and people who are friends with the judges, because like everyone else sees the value in it. 3, a blind person could have easily passed the eye test given to Renato, but Goddard is the man. He has his reasons. And honestly, I don't really put the onus on him. I put it more on the corner. They should have stopped that fight, in my opinion. Ollie, sup, Ariel? I kind of felt for Johnny Boy Morgan last week at the pressers. Colby was continuing to school him, and it seemed like he was not enjoying asking questions. Aside from the push-ups, how do you think he should approach interviewing Colby in the future? Look, I mean, I've been there before, not quite this weird and inappropriate, but certainly, I mean, I've certainly taken my shots. The one way to go about it is just stop asking him questions. Because if you know that he's going to do that, just stop doing it. I think it's gross. I think it's inappropriate. I personally think the UFC should say, hey, you know, we don't like you making fun of the journalists. Like, can you, like, there's nothing that's going to come of this. Especially from my vantage point, it doesn't seem like there's an actual beef there. I don't really get what the end game is here, but this is why having some sort of media association would be beneficial, but alas, I digress. Have you ever feared asking an MMA fighter a question? If so, who was it and what question? No, not really. I mean, I knew there were times like Tito Ortiz was mad at me. I still asked him the question, but you didn't really know what they were going to say. Actually, I found out that Tito was mad at me before I asked. No, I didn't know he was mad at me. Then I asked him a question prior to 132, I think it was, and he got all mad. He was mad at me because of Mitrione. I didn't say anything. It's just that Mitrione said it on my show. And then I think at 140, he's like, I'm not going to answer your questions. Whatever. It's an awkward thing because you don't want to make it about yourself and you don't want that confrontation, and people love that and they'll clip it off. It's one thing to say I don't want to talk to you or I don't want to answer your questions. It's another thing to be mean and to be insulting and to try to humiliate and embarrass. That to me is Alo Akbar, Mr. Helwani, congrats on becoming an American citizen. The world is so full of sad news. Can we take a moment to talk about the love for all the lads, ladies? Yes. Oh, can you share with us the meet cute moment between yourself and Mrs. Helwani? Can I ask what your pickup line was with the first date? Well, I actually first met my wife in 1994. We were in 7th grade, August of 1994. So in Montreal, in Quebec, there's no middle school, and high school ends with grade 11, 11th grade. You can always tell if someone's from Canada if they say grade 8, grade 7, grade 6, as opposed to 6th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade.
And then you have like your marks, right, instead of your grades.
You mean like A+, B+, C+?
Yeah, like, oh, have you marked my test yet instead of A?
I'm not sure about that one. That's an interesting one. I'll think about it. Anyway, we met each other, and we were just, I was 12 years old. All I cared about were the Knicks and the Bills, and I really didn't care about any of that stuff. She liked me and pursued me for 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. Then 10th grade, I saw the light. I then pursued her. Then she played hard to get. Then we broke up that summer. Then I pursued her really hard in the 11th grade, and she really played hard to get. Then we got together. Then we broke up again. Then we went our separate ways for several years, stayed friends, and then we both moved to New York at the same time in 2004. I had just graduated from Syracuse. She came for a year just to study and help grow her business, and she never left. And we actually, the nail in the coffin, apology, that's not the right, term to use here, but the one that sealed the deal, I should say, was we actually went to go see Garden State, starring Zach Braff and I can't believe I'm blanking on her name.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, the great Natalie Portman. Thank you very much for that. And that was it. That was the moment. That was the movie. And we've been together ever since. 18 years. How about that? Married in 2008. Thank you very much. Zach, good morning, Ariel. Call me a hater, but what was the whole point of Kayla Harrison saying it haunts her that her window of opportunity to fight girls with the star power of Ronda Rousey is closing? In order to do that, she would have to go to a different organization, but instead she re-signs with PFL. Well, she re-signed with PFL because they matched the offer. So, trust me. Let me just put it out there. She wanted to go to Bellator. She wanted that deal. She wanted that opportunity. Just read the tweets. It's all there. Read between the lines. Cryptic at times, but it's all there. She wanted that. Don't get me wrong. She is smart. He writes, getting paid over $1 million to fight. Yeah, she's getting paid a lot. But she will never get the star power she wants in the PFL. Much love, Zach. This week's handicap hot take for you is Juliana Pena will win the rematch against Nunes via KO. Again, we need to start keeping track of these hot takes, Zach, because you're throwing them out there, but are we getting any of them right? That's the question. That is the question. I hope you are. And again, I really do, I got into, I don't think this matters, but I got into a bit of an argument with someone who's part of Cyborg's team, and they were like, oh, this is Ronda all over again. She doesn't really want to fight Cyborg. I'm like, you could not be more wrong. Kayla Harrison wants to fight Cyborg. Kayla Harrison wants to be the best. She wants to challenge herself. She wants the biggest fights, the biggest names. Just because she re-signed with PFL, to me, doesn't mean that she doesn't want that. It's just a very unique situation. They matched, and they had the ability to. Now, could she have maybe tried to broker a deal that they don't match? She sits out, yes, but she still has to fight. She still has to get paid. She wants that Cyborg fight, 1,000%. Now they're doing Cyborg April against Arlene Blankow again. There's nothing going on for her in Bellator. There's literally nothing going on for her. If she's not fighting Kat Zingano, there's nothing going on. So when her deal is up in the summer, we'll find out. We'll find out where she goes and who wants to fight who. Alec Tomlinson. Top of the morning, Ariel. I had a question for GC. I was wondering if you would ever, after the picks, do a full card prediction, just picking fight winners at Moneyline for some crazy parlays. And just for fun, if people are stuck on fights, I know he already invests a lot of time into the picks, so if not, I understand. Just thought it would be a cool and fun addition. What do you say, GC? What do you say?
He's saying, basically give out a pick for every fight?
Yeah, Moneyline.
Yeah, we could do that. We might have something in the works that people will find out about soon.
Okay, there you go.
That will involve that.
Yes, that's a good tease right there. The Average AF Podcast. Ariel, I'm curious to get your thoughts about how Colbys Gimmick continues to sell pay-per-views. Everyone in the MMA community knows it's a gimmick, and the commentary and media always talk about it being fake. So even a lot of the casuals should know too. I understand he's obviously a great fighter, but I don't understand how the gimmick is still working at this point. It's working because he has the perfect foil. He's very lucky, and he's smart. He's picking the right guys. So it's luck and smarts. Usman, that's the perfect foil. It worked both ways. It was beneficial to Usman. It was beneficial to him. Masvidal, perfect foil, right? Works both ways. Woodley wasn't a pay-per-view, but it did tremendously well. I think at the time it was the most watched fight night on Plus. Perfect story, works both ways. Now, why is it the perfect story? Because he is a heel, and he is making it personal, and he is doing this and that. And again, I'm not trying to say that it's wrong to be the heel. I'm not trying to say that it's a mistake. It clearly has worked out for him. I just think that there are certain things that shouldn't be talked about. Be a heel all you want. Just leave family out of it. Leave family, leave religion, leave politics out of it. Honestly, the politics thing doesn't even bother me. Like, you could tell, I couldn't care less what you believe in, what you think, what you vote. Like that, I don't get offended by that. The two main things I get offended by, number one, family, like way number one. Wives, kids, all that stuff. Parents, leave them out. And then religion, and you're good. But, and of course, like when I say religion, I mean cultural stuff. Don't be a bigot. Don't be a racist. Don't be an a-hole like that. There's a ton of stuff that you can say. That's the stuff that makes me a little bit feel frustrated. But it's like you could be a great heel and not go that route. Hugo knows. Good afternoon, Ariel. El Nariz Helwani. Good afternoon. If we can't get a sponsorship from Lego for Brandon Moreno, can we rally the Helwani army and bombard the Funko Pop IG page / socials demanding a Brandon Moreno Funko? I mean, he's got a management team. They should be picking up the phone and cutting these deals. That would be another feather in the cap. I got way too many things to worry about, but getting, Brandon Moreno a Funko Pop deal, that's what he has a manager for, an agent for. Plus, it would look good displayed in your studio in the middle of the Sanibel Sugar gloves. P.S. Are there rumblings the 2nd July pay-per-view card to return to Anaheim? Yes, I reported that, July 30th. Hey, Ariel, from Mike. How soon could we expect you and Eddie Hearn to start your MMA organization? That would be wild. Imagine that. It ain't going to happen. Also, recently you mentioned that Benny the Butcher is your favorite rapper. Well, no, that's not true. I just said that he's from Buffalo, and I know he's a big Bills fan. I actually can't name a single song that he has put out. But it's a great name. Benny the Butcher, tremendous name. So I was wondering, what is your favorite Griselda album? Frank?
Why don't you...
Can you help me out here?
Yeah, mention the last one from Conway the Machine.
Go ahead, mention it. I don't know anything about this.
You know what? I actually don't remember the name.
Perfect. That's great. Matt S. Morning, Ariel. I wanted to touch upon something you discussed in 2 Cent Tuesday, which is how strange it is that Usman is going pedal to the metal on this Leon fight. Love Leon, but I think it goes without saying that the marketability of a fight against Leon versus Khamzat is not close. Perhaps in Usman's mind, he believes Leon is an easier fight and he wants to maintain perfection in hopes of a Canelo fight. Possible. Here's the thing. All of a sudden, you've got Usman, who always sort ignored old Leon, and so Usman's talking about Leon, or it's going to happen. Colby's going after the 55er Poirier, and I just think it's I'm just bringing up the coincidence that there's a guy named Khamzat who is one fight away from fighting either one of those guys, right? I think what should happen is Colby should fight the winner of Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns. I think that's 100% the move to make. And then if he wins that fight, he's fighting Usman, right? Let's just ignore that guy and let's go after this guy and this guy. I was just wondering. I was hypothesizing. Is this possible? Are they talking about these other guys because of the boogeyman walking up behind them? I don't know. Matt in Montreal. What is your favorite and most challenging part about doing the show each week? 10-7 Helwani from the green room on Colby's BS Call. Thank you. I mean, the most challenging part is just like the booking the guests. I talked about this 1,000 times. I love when I sit here and get to do the show and talk to everyone and they're here and you get 45 minutes with Michael Bisping and Ben Askren and all this stuff. It's just basically, a big fight happens. Can you get the guy on? Sundays and Tuesdays are a little bit stressful in that regard, but I'm not going to complain. This is a great thing. But yes, if you want to know, like, the most challenging part is getting the guests, booking the guests, getting them to commit, getting them to come on time. And the best part is actually doing the show. And I mean, when the show's over, it's a great feeling as well. When it's a great show and you're like, wow, that was awesome. Tremendous feeling. What's better than that? Good day, Ariel, Sweaty Spaghetti. If the interviews on this show in the last few months have shown us anything, it's that the sport is absolutely stacked full of individuals from all walks of life who have such incredible stories to tell. The Francis, Bryce, and Kayla interviews, for example, are all truly captivating for completely different reasons. Thank you. Why is it then that the UFC seems intent on restricting the individuality of these incredible people, from denying Kelleher his flag, this and that? Ultimately, the UFC is most invested in the UFC. They want that brand to be number one. There's a reason why the only person that's appeared on every episode of The Ultimate Fighter is Dana White. And there's a reason why when someone gets really big, they tend to butt heads with that person. The brand will always be number one. And so, yes, this is why I have said, let the fighters wear whatever they want. We all go gaga over some, camo shorts. Let the fighters be who they want to be. Let them walk out to the cage with whatever they want, of course, within reason. But look how we react to a great Tyson Fury walkout or a Mike Tyson walkout from back in the day. Look how we remember a Tito Ortiz flame shorts or a Chuck Liddell Iceman shorts. Look how we remember GSP coming out with the gi, with the bandana. Look how we remember Tyson coming out with the black boots and the black towel over his head. Like, this is why we love fighters. We love their personalities. We love how unique they are, the individuals that they are. We love this about them. We don't want them to look the same. We don't want look at Jalen Turner. If he could come out wearing a freaking tarantula costume, I bet you more people would know who he is and be more emotionally invested in him. But ultimately, what's going to sell the TV deals and the merch and all it in their mind, it's the UFC. During your beef earlier this year, you used the line, "If you come for the king, you best not miss." Where did you get that line from? Because you were asked about The Wire last week. Yes, I know it was from The Wire. It's obviously an iconic line, but it is true that I have not seen any episodes of The Wire. I have been watching Winning Time on HBO about the 1980s Lakers dynasty. This is an amazing show. There's only been one episode, and I only get to like 10 minutes in every time, and then I fall asleep. But wow. Anyone out there, watch that show. Adam McKay, John C. Reilly. It's really well done. I thought it was going to be a little hokey. It's like playing off of, an actual, like when they try to recreate famous sports moments, you're like, that's not really Kareem. That's not really Magic. So far, it's tremendous. And it's based off of Jeff Pearlman's book entitled Showtime. He's my favorite sports author. His books are great. He wrote one called Three Ring Circus about the Kobe Shaq Lakers. He's written one about the Mets, the bad guys won, Barry Bonds book, Walter Payton book, Showtime book. So highly, highly, highly recommend. During your beef, this is the one I just read. What do you think PFL will do with their pay-per-view show? I mean, let's see. We've seen this before. Bellator said pay-per-view. They did one, and that's it. I bet that had something to do with the matching as well. Hello, Ariel. This idea came to me last week. People get mad when you have non-MMA guests? Yeah, and it's whack. Like 98% of the guests on the show are MMA related. Why do you care when we have Tyson freaking Fury on? I mean, there's usually some sort of connection to fighting, right? I don't just have a random person on, so just chill the F out. What are your thoughts on changing the name of the show to the Combat Sports Hour? I mean, I guess, but, the hour, like the hour is wrong. It's not even an hour. So who cares at this point? That's what I say. Call whatever you want. But I'm always I love having those guys on. And I will continue to. And the beauty is, if you don't like them, just fast forward. Hugo Crawford. Hey, Ariel, congrats on becoming an American citizen. Thank you very much. You mentioned that the UFC was looking to do Max and Josh Emmett. Any update on that? Not yet. Also, any truth to the rumor that Stipe and Ty are fighting for the interim belt on July 2nd? We'll find out soon. In an hour. No, less than an hour. 45 minutes. Tai Tuivasa going to join us. And Robert Whitaker is still to come as well in about 15 minutes. Steven, hey, Ariel, congrats. Congrats on the citizenship. Thank you very much. I hope it allows you to do more things in this country. We're so blessed to have you here. Thank you. That's very nice. Hope you can help me understand this. Why does recency bias play such a huge role in not only MMA, but sports in general? We see it all the time when talking about Hall of Fame candidates. You've said before that discussing past versus current greats actually helps the sport. And I agree, but personally, it feels hard to add meaningful value to that discussion when it's largely based on what ifs. I'm not trying to knock what you said at all. I just wanted to grasp the concept a little better. Much love. Steven, oh, sorry, did I say Stefan? My bad, from Central PA. I mean, recency bias is a real thing. More people know about Izzy right now than Anderson Silva. It's just a real thing, but that's why I think it's important to have Hall of Fames, to have these, 30th anniversary ceremonies, and to remind people of who the greats were, who the founding fathers of the sport were, who the legends were before the current legends of the sport. But the sport is actually it's built and it's constructed to encourage recency bias, right? This next card is the greatest card of all time. Really? Because back in 2009, there were some pretty deep damn cards. Shalom, Ariel. Danny. Shalom, Lord Helwani. Excuse me. Rankings aside, what are your thoughts on a hypothetical matchup between Lando Venata and Justin Gaethje? Golly, that's a random one. I mean, Gaethje is fighting for the belt next. I mean, at some point, but that ain't in the works anytime soon. Hey, Ariel, from Nim. We've had a few impressions recently, so what would you rate these impressions out of 10? Killishaw's impression of GC, it's phenomenal. Killishaw's impression of New York Rick. Helwani's impression of Sean Sheehan, and the anonymous judge on open scoring. Congrats on the citizenship. Wow. I'd say Killishaw, I think Killishaw's best impression is of GC. Sorry to say. How do you feel about that, GC?
I'm in complete agreement.
Yeah,
sounds just like me.
He's amazing.
Though you're Sheehan.
What would we do about our feelings?
Sounds eerily similar to the open scoring complainers.
Yeah, I mean, it's one and the same. Daniel, slightly random non-MMA question to start. Are you a fan of Luis Theroux? Yes, a massive fan. I've actually written to him a couple of times, and I've actually used him as an example unknowingly, this is sort of my style. I love his docs. The one where he went to the power plant in Atlanta to train to be a WCW wrestler back in the day. I love Luis Theroux. He's amazing. His style is amazing. His demeanor is amazing. The questions. If you have not seen his docs for the BBC, it's just amazing stuff. I'm a huge fan. I always felt like there were some parallels between the slightly quirky, awkward, but composed, almost disarming style of how you both engage your interview guests. Thank you. I appreciate that. Not on purpose, but I will admit, over the years, I've watched a lot more of him, and I'm sure by osmosis, by just watching it, has seeped into my brain. So, yeah, thank you very much. I am a huge fan of his. That's one time someone actually compared me to him on Twitter, and he wrote back. I was like, holy crap. That is amazing. I'd love to interview him at some point. Al, what's your opinion on the way Colby responds to John Morgan's questions? Yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. That doesn't sell a fight. That it feels mean. It feels mean-spirited. It's low. It's how I feel. I mean, not as bad, but it's like talking about the family. I don't like it. And it puts any journalist in a tough spot, because what are you going to do? Argue back, fight back? No, it's just awkward and bizarre. Good morning, Ariel. Often you mention speed bumps or roadblocks during the Kayla negotiations. I'm not sure if you're allowed to tell us what those are, but what type of stuff could be in a deal of this magnitude? I mean, it was contract stuff. They would get really close, and then they would put things in the contract, and she wasn't happy with it. But ultimately, once you got that deal from PFL and they have to match it, it actually sort of expedited things. What's your go-to Hamantaschen flavor? Ooh, dates. I like dates. Hey, Ariel, I don't see this cross-promotional chatter, boxing or MMA or other organizations going away anytime soon. This is from Corvette. The UFC seems pretty reluctant to allow their fighters that freedom. Excuse me. I know it's probably in their contracts, but there's ways around it. Is this stance more Dana or the UFC? I mean, it's one and the same. Do you see it changing whenever Dana decides to step away? Probably not. There's such a massive gap now between the UFC and the other organizations. Why do they need to do it? They would just be putting them over. It's so big at this point. They don't need to do it. Adam, have you heard, I'd love to see it happen. Don't get me wrong, but it ain't happening anytime soon. Have you heard any update as to why CM Punk is angry at you? No, and actually I did text him recently and he wrote me back and it was very nice. So I don't think he's angry at me. I mean, who knows? But we're good. Don't worry about it. Would love to hear from him. Him and Paul Heyman are my favorite guests in the history of the MMA. Are two wrestlers. I can hear the latter talk for hours on end. Lastly, when you elongate the word she along with when you say you come at the king, you best not miss. Are you aware it's from the TV show The Wire? Well, the she is from Rampage and the Pecan Pie, but the other one, yes, I know it's from The Wire. Jezza. Yo, Ariel, Jezza Q here again. Respect, brother. As always, great work. Kayla interview was honesty and it was amazing. I think the Kayla interview and honesty. You get the point. You know what I loved so much about that Kayla interview? It was impromptu. It wasn't planned to go in that direction. She's in the car. She's sweaty. You know, sometimes when you work out, you're clear-headed. You're thinking about other things. I just love the sort of impromptu nature of it all. This week got me thinking. That story you told about Chael refusing to get off the bus and having your back was brilliant. It was a car, actually, but yes, thank you. It was amazing. Are there any other similar situations you could draw on where a fighter has looked out for you like this that you wouldn't mind sharing? Keep up the great work. If GC can help with some tips for the Cheltenham Festival, biggest horse racing meeting of the year in the UK, which starts next week, that would be amazing. Do you know anything about this?
No, but I'm Googling it right now.
The Cheltenham.
Sounds like I want some action in it.
Yeah. I don't know about I mean, there have been a lot of things. I mean, the one that obviously comes to mind is UFC 199, and the ones who tweeted on my behalf. DC did. I believe John Jones did, and a few others as well. Quinta. So that meant a lot to me. But yeah, I mean, my relationship with Chael is a lot different. You know, we were friends. We are friends. We were coworkers. We were co-hosts. And that just really meant a lot. Actually, 2 years ago, I think yesterday, today, something like that. Maybe 2 days ago, March 7th. Eric, hi Ariel, Mazel Tov on the citizenship. Wow, another question about Colby and John Morgan. Golly. Yeah, I mean, I answered that one. Whack. You're stranded on an island for 1 full year. You must pick one UFC fighter and one member of the MMA Hour team to accompany you, survive with you. Who do you choose? Jeez Louise. Thanks for always keeping it P. Shout out to Mystic GC. And shout out to my boys, Sean, Seamus, and Kato. Golly, one UFC fighter and one... I'm not doing that. That's mean. I can't do that. It's a great question, but I can't do that. Colton. Hey, Ariel. Now that you're... I'm going to go with Mysterious Frank. That's my pick. Thanks. Colton, hey Ariel, now that you're officially a UFC citizen, have you celebrated by belting out the sensational Real American by Rick Derringer? I am a real American, fight for what's right in every man. I am a real American, fight for your rights, fight for your life. First time I sing that as an American, as my flag almost falls off the thing here. Yeah. By the way, I've had this on the desk for a long time, just for the record. So always in my heart. Okay, Abhisek. How can Colby Covington consistently manage to stay out of the top 15 pound for pound rankings? Who does these rankings? I don't believe that they're actual real people. If I'm being honest, I don't actually think they exist. But you make a strong point. He should be in there. True or false? Had there been a 165 pound division, Colby beats Khabib. What a fight. Colby beats Kamaru. I'll say false. Colby beats Conor at 165. Well, the wrestling, true. Colby, Nate, true. Can Colby make a pro wrestling career in AEW as a gimmick against ATT, or is that too dangerous? No, I don't think it'll work. And a fun one, can Eric Jackman be called as the Brock Lesnar of the MMA, the main eventer, Monday Night Messiah, man of his own rules? Sure. I'm sure he'd love that. Lewis, my man, good afternoon, Ariel. The talk with Kayla H on Monday is another addition to the library of scintillating, intriguing, and challenging interviews since the show returned. Thank you. This got me thinking about old interviews, and one that was challenging for very different reasons is the one that took place in August of 2017 at a gentleman's club with Floyd Mayweather. Yes, his own. Can you talk about the events of that night? I don't think the curtain's ever really been pulled back before. One last thing, Monday also revealed you as a soup drinker. Yes. Any other questionable eating habits? Oh, no spoon. No, I mean, it's in a cup, so I just drink it, but I do like a spoon. I'm not quite Izzy, who eats the matzo ball soup with his hands. Remember that? I also do like to use a fork and knife when I eat a chocolate bar. Other than that, that's it. As far as the 2017 interview, so we're there for Mayweather-McGregor. It's the week leading up to the fight. And I'm starting to think of ways, we were dominating the competition. We covered that fight better than anyone. And I was like, man, Floyd keeps promoting that he's going to be at his club on, every single night leading up to the fight. He kept doing that on social media. So I remember we were eating. I'm pretty sure Mark was there. I'm pretty sure Casey was there, maybe one other person. I was like, we should go there and see if he actually shows up. So I called up I texted his bodyguard, who was cool with me, one of the two, juice monkey guys that Connor always talked about. And they said, yeah, he's going to be there. I said, if we go with a camera crew, do you think we could interview him? He's like, yeah, maybe, I can't guarantee it, but you could give it a shot. I'll put in the word, you go there, because, you can't just walk into a place like that with a whole, camera setup. So we went, I believe at 10:30 p.m., we talked to the guy at the front. They put us in a room upstairs, and it was sort of like a blocked off room, and we sat there 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock he shows up. And at that point, it's like 2:33. Like, I don't want to leave at this point, because what if he shows up? I'm going to feel like crap. Actually, other media people were there. I saw a bunch of people coming and going. I don't know what they were there for, but it's true. And he shows up, and he shows up like he's the mayor of the place. And he's like, hey, what's up? What's up? Massive stack of money. Hey, yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? So I'm like, all right, I guess I just have to go down and ask him, because no one's going to ask him for me. So I waited. And then at one point, I walked up to him and I was like, hey, I'm Ariel. You remember me? Could we do an interview? And he's like, he thinks about it. And he's like, all right, fine. And he like darts up to where we were sitting upstairs. So he clearly knew that we were there, because I didn't tell him. We sit down, we do the interview. We're freaking out. We go back to the hotel, upload it. And then I didn't go to sleep, and I went to do the MMA beat like an hour later. That was a crazy time. And I think that was the last interview you did before the fight in a very loud, dark club. But one of those memories that I will never forget. Absolutely. Do you have a milestone you want to hit before you take a back seat? Nah, I'm going till I'm 90. I ain't stopping. What potential pay-per-view main event are you most looking forward to this year? Usman Edwards. Finally. With UFC London just over a week away, I'd like to know what your favorite British accent is. Oh, gotta be the Scouse. Is Khabib allowed to fight in Eagle FC? No. Is there going to be a Friday card the night before International Fight Week? No. Not that I heard. Why multi-year deal for PFL? Couple years. Why did Dana White say they're close to a deal? Because talks are going well. What's the funniest fight you can remember? Man. What about Chris Lieben and Nate Quarry back in the day? True or false? Conor McGregor's next fight is for the BMF belt. False. Interim heavyweight title fight is contested in 2022. True. Cowboy Cerrone, Khabib, or John Jones appears in the MMA before the end of 2022. True. AJ McKee does not re-sign with Bellator. False. Henry Cejudo fights in 2022. True. Ariel Helwani finally starts riding Highway to Helwani before the end of 2022. False. Ariel Helwani attends a UFC event before end of 2022. False. Dylan Dan has finally paid someone $2K for liking his tweets. False. Oh, that was tremendous. Why did Jorge get a big-ass contract before his fight against Colby? Listen, I know a lot of people don't want to believe this, but here's the truth. Whenever there's a threat, whenever there's competition, whenever there's someone out there, people get paid. And the truth is, the creme de la creme of the UFC are getting paid more now than they ever have. And right now, I believe Izzy, Masvidal, potentially Nate, potentially Conor, are all benefiting from the fact that there's a guy named Jake Paul out there that the UFC doesn't want these stars to go out and fight and make money off of the names and brands that they built. You can laugh all you want, but it's the truth. So I do think the threat of Jake Paul out there gives them more incentive to pay Izzy not to leave, gives them more incentive to lock down a Jorge Masvidal, gives them more incentive to pay Nathan Diaz. You may not want to hear it, but it's the truth. I want to thank you for that incredible interview with Kayla. Ask, what are you feeling in the immediate aftermath of an interview like that? I mean, I'm just thankful that she would open up the way she did, and really appreciate it. Okay, here's an interesting one. Longtime listener, I love your work and respect you being a man of principle, but I thought it was unfair how you dug into Colbys Gimmick on Monday's show after other fighters like Conor have used similar tactics and not received Helwani's wrath at the last word on Monday. Your wife's in my DMs. First of all, I did talk about that. I remember I was kind of out of work when that happened, but I did talk about it. I wasn't doing a show the Monday after. I've talked about the stuff with Khabib's family. That none of that religion, none of it. So you guys could pick and choose, but I have talked about it. Okay, there's one question here that's way too long. Why do MMA fighters have such a bad relationship with the media? I don't think they do at all. I think they have a great, I mean, there's guys here and there, but to be honest, I think it's actually a pretty damn good one. Two quick questions. How often do fighters say no to coming on the show? Not often. You just have to get them at the right time. GC, what are the current odds on DraftKings that Mysterious Frank actually shows up to the next UFC get-together at your apartment?
Plus 1,500, no shot.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hola, amigo. Thank you for having the pound-for-pound king of boxing, even though it was a quick one. Couldn't help but think we will ever see you at a UFC event once again. No, we will. Don't worry. By the way, can I ask, in context to it being International Women's Day, beside your mom or wife, was there any other woman who helped you along your journey? A lot. I would say my grandmother. I mean, besides my mom or wife, grandmother, definitely. On my mom's side, who I still talk to all the time. Thank God, still alive. And yes, someone writes Dahlia. Yes, Dahlia helped shape me into the human being that I am today. Okay, just a couple more here. Let me see if I can find some. Man, so many great questions. I need to find a way to get to all of these.
Third day of MMA Hour?
Third day of MMA Hour. Félicitations pour la naturalisation. Why not Izzy on a London card? Because it's a fight night. It's a pay-per-view fighter. Hello, hola Ariel. I love the show. Shout out from the homeless cats down under all the way to the big cats at the zoo. You're the man. Respect. Thank you. Where's the butternut squash coming from? The little beat, Hale and Hardy? No, it's coming from Le Pain Quotidien. That's where it's coming from, right below our office here. Has Mrs. Helwani had anything to say about the alter ego Helwani that was released upon the world? Clearly she knows you well, but I think many of us who got to know your content initially via ESPN were surprised every week by how hard independent Helwani goes. Nah, man, she's known me since 1994. She's seen way worse. The YouTube live chat was absolutely barbaric on Monday, especially during Marina Morose's appearance. Figure out your lives, you savages. I agree. It's a cesspool. Am I the only one who misses TST's minimalist tip of the week? Yes. Okay. Turkey sandwich, mayo, mustard, or both? Mayo? That's disgusting. Mustard, yes, but no. Mustard, yes, but no way mayo. What are you, nuts? Okay, there's just so many here. Watching the Biscuit. Oh, no, wait. Has your policy on letting your kids watch MMA? It's a real issue here. And has your policy on letting your kids watch MMA changed? I guess he meant to write. I'll let them watch it. I have no problem with that. Listen, if my parents stopped me from watching this stuff, I wouldn't be sitting here. So I can't be a hypocrite. Okay, one more. What are we at? 75? What did we get to last time? 81? Do you see Blachowicz versus Rakic being a non-Apex UFC fight night? No, I think it's Apex. Is Dana really going to give Conor a title fight? Too soon. And my guess is no. Shout out to G City. I have 2 quick ones today. Are we getting Moreno Figueiredo 4? No word, but I think yes. Are they really going to give TJ a title shot after Piotr beats Aljo? Potentially, but I think it's still TBD. Oh. Now, when they say 2 questions, are we counting both as one, or how are we doing that? Okay, thank you. We're counting them too. We need the Mousasi minute. After your first interview with him, although good, I thought you were really man-crushing on him. After your second interview, I'm now man-crushing on him even more. More Mousasi. All right, that counts. But no, it doesn't count? All right, fine. Greetings from Northampton, England. Why did the UFC continue to use the O2 Arena instead of a bigger stadium? Great question. I really don't know, but they can easily do more. Have you done any research on any of Bryce's bold claims? What? No. We are always quick to write off opinions that don't align with ours. Come on. I think I was plenty nice and plenty open, but I don't believe in the vast majority of what he said. I just don't. I'm sorry. Chael Sonnen recently said he had inside scoop that Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa was being talked about. Any news on that? No, but if Rob is fighting Marvin, that would make sense. And that would be crazy. I like that. Last one. As someone that got into MMA over the pandemic, I had gotten used to the events at the Apex. However, now that Columbus and London cards are inching closer, I'm extremely excited. And I'm wondering, how long do you think until we finally move away from the Apex? I wish they would already. Hopefully, I think by 2023, we transition out, but I don't think the Apex will forever be a thing of the past. I think you'll have some shows there. I think you'll have Contender Series. It makes too much sense. They're adding people now. It's so cost effective. They're going to keep using it. That's my prediction. So whether you like it or you don't, you better learn to live with it. And that, my friends, is a show.